Alrighty doodah there, lads. This one's going to require some unpacking. It's going to require some kind of mental gymnastics of some sort. Because I'm basically going to be unpacking this as we go. But it's basically one of the most insane single images that you could possibly get from a match of football. This is the image. It is a match in the South Asian Football Federation Championships between Nepal and India on the women's side. And that is not a typo. That has not been edited in any way. It is 172 minutes, 22 seconds with 5, added minutes of stoppage time. But honestly, from what point are we? I mean, like looking at this, I don't even know what's happened here, right? There's a couple of options. One, we're in stoppage time that was supposed to be 5 minutes and somehow it's taken like literally over an hour. The second option is that we've ended up in a situation where they just decided to let the clock run while something crazy was going on, and then they added, they put a +5 there. But looking at the actual image here, I can't tell you how many more minutes are supposed to be played in this match. This is a faux pas, I believe, of broadcasting. Right, this has become a failure of broadcasting because I don't know exactly how many more minutes are supposed to be played. Right, you tune in and it's supposed to get to 90 minutes, and then you're supposed to have a plus. So technically, isn't this supposed to be like plus 100, basically? And then I at least know what it's like target score. I at least know what the target time is that we're trying to work our way to. Because, I can math, or I can pull up a calculator on my phone and pretend that I would have been able to do that in my head if I wanted to take the time, even though I probably wouldn't have been able to do that in my head. That sort of gamesmanship. But it turns out that this, like those weird YouTube videos, is a rabbit hole. I guess I forget this is a YouTube video too. It's a rabbit hole that just goes deeper and deeper. Because this match is a rematch of last year's semifinal in the SAFF Women's Football Championship. And this place was packed. Okay, let me see if I can find some footage. No? I mean, this is just generally awesome to see that there is a South Asian Football Federation match that is absolutely packed like this, let alone a women's match in that tournament. This place was bumping. This match was played in Nepal, and according to the screenshots from YouTube, there were nearly 400,000 people watching this match on the YouTube live stream as well. So this match was objectively a huge deal, which is the umpteenth reminder on this channel that football that, doesn't dominate what's on like BBC or DAZN or any of these other media outlets that kind of dominate what the world of football is talking about more broadly, Marca or L'Equipe or whatever. The football happening outside of what is reported there can still be important to an incredibly large number of people. There were a lot of people at this game. The house was packed, and there's 400,000 people watching the live stream of Nepal versus India in the women's side in the South Asian semifinal. Then it's important to understand, and I've learned this through my exposure to the cricket world and everything else, that South Asia in general is very similar to Europe in a lot of ways, where all of these countries are right next to each other, and they all hate each other, right, for one reason or another, whether it be Nepal, Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka. They got beef, right? They are there, they are angry, and if they are playing against each other in tiddlywinks, they are going to care who wins. And clearly the women's football tournament, the yearly SAFF women's football tournament, is one of those great expressions of who is actually better. And this match turned into a giant chaotic mess, as we are obviously going to get to based off of this picture. The first half, however, passed without incident. I would like you to know it was 0-0 at halftime without anything particularly weird happening. It was only in the second half that very weird things started to happen in this match. The sort of things that end up producing a picture such as this one. You see, 6 minutes into the second half, there was a second yellow card given to a player named Rika Paudel for Nepal, who were hosting this entire tournament, by the way. It's not like a home and away sort of thing. Nepal was just hosting the tournament for the second straight time. They hosted it in 2022. Now they're hosting it again. But Rika Paudel commits this tackle. Now, if you're thinking, well, yeah, I mean, she definitely gave a good kick there, and you could understand why that would be a second yellow. Rika Powdell is in the red. Rika Powdell's the one being kicked. The one that takes cleats to the side of the ankle in this particular situation. The one that by any objective footballing measure gets fouled as she reaches for the ball. For this offense, here's a picture of it. Rika Powdell is given a second yellow card. Now, this understandably incenses the home crowd and incenses the Nepalese bench. And apparently it takes a couple of minutes for everything to kind of return to normal. I'm not saying they were like, it wasn't becoming awful. As far as I can tell, they weren't throwing a bunch of things on the field, right? But it was just, there was a lot of hubbub, a lot of conversations required in order to actually subdue the Nepalese side, the Nepalese contingent, after what was an objectively awful call. Because now, against your hated rival, going up against India, the team you beat in the semifinal last time, but they ended up losing the final to Bangladesh 2 years ago. So Nepal's still never won the SAFF Women's Championship, which obviously is a big deal here. And now you're down 11v10, 0-0 against India, who's won this tournament 5 times, the big bullies of women's football in the region, it would seem historically. It's just a terrible call. And like, I'm never going to endorse being awful towards the referee, right? But the referee clearly just completely missed this one. But that was not even close to the biggest controversy in this match. Because 11 minutes after this, India scores. India scores to take the lead. In the 62nd minute, they go up 1-0 against Nepal. And it's right after the goal that apparently, upon a lot of further investigation, all hell breaks loose. Okay, the best I'm going to be able to describe this to you without plagiarizing their YouTube stream is basically India scores, and then the ball gets reset, and play restarts. But India's team is not necessarily ready for play to restart. They try to recover, they try to scramble, right? But Nepal is able to actually go down and score within a minute. At that point, the referee makes the decision to bring the ball back and say the goal doesn't count after lots of deliberation. And this is, 11 minutes after one of the worst red cards in this part of the world, a major tournament semifinal, right? In a tournament semifinal that clearly, 400,000 people are watching this damn thing, right? And that's not counting the people that are there. You pull a goal back because you say that India was not ready. You can only imagine the scenes that take place after that. And it is this decision that causes such a ridiculous delay. Now, the officials are obviously in charge of the safety of the players, so they make sure the players are safe. But there is, half an hour worth of discussion that goes on. The game is delayed. It feels like, for portions, like there's not really a lot of clarity while the situation is going on. While this was happening, people were tweeting at me and they're like, dude, you got to take a look at this. You got to figure out what's going on. It's taken me a couple of days to build up the courage to make this video, or at least devote the time to trying to figure out what the hell happened here. But there were periods of this where it was like this kind of indefinite delay where the coaches were getting upset. You got officials from not only the Federation, but from Nepal, from India down on the field talking to the referee. Both coaching staffs apparently in very long conversations with the referee. The crowd, as you can imagine, going in waves of restless to unruly to frustrated to exuberant, right? You're down a goal. You've just scored an equalizer. You feel like it's been called back unfairly. Based off of the people that were able to watch this live, it was called back unfairly. There's lots of crying that, India's got the SAFF in their back pocket, right? That this is like that the calls are favoring India because they're the biggest economic driver in this federation, right? Like all of the things that are just common threads in football all over the world are just popping up in this match between Nepal and India at the SAFF Women's Championship. And I just want to take a sidestep here to say, fucking awesome. This is great. This warms my heart like a nice bowl of tomato soup on a cold winter afternoon, okay? Because this shit's always going to happen. There's always going to be refs that make mistakes. They're human. There's always going to be these accusations of it's rigged. This team always gets penalties. This federation favors this team. Sometimes that stuff gets proven. Most of the time, it's obvious bullshit, and things just happen in sports. As well as you play, as well as you game plan, there is an element of luck, an element of fortune, an element of the night being in your favor. And there will always be stories like this in sports. But to see a stadium and what is, by every definition, a football backwater, absolutely jam-packed, and being upset like normal sports fans, not performatively, not like, well, you know, all these people got free tickets to go to the game and so they're here. No, being actually just normal human being upset because they're rooting for the best women, the best 11 or 10 women you can get on the field from Nepal against the best 11 women you can get on the field from India. And that's what that's what international football is all about. Whether it's the men's side or the women's side, our best, your best, let's freaking go. You know, and probably one random Brazilian who's been naturalized on either side. But you know what? They've been here long enough. They can sing the anthem. They speak the language. Let's get them in there, right? Like, it just warms my heart to see this sort of thing around women's football, because so often the discussions around women's football have to do with everything but the actual game, the drama, the contest. Right? My point has always been, if you just chill and just let women's football do its thing, then it's cool. We've got more sports to talk about. You know, and I'm always pro more sports to talk about. I'm addicted to sports. I watch sports every night. I'm working on a video. You know, I'm watching sports. I'm playing video games. I'm playing FM. I got, you know, on my second monitor, my third monitor, my fourth monitor, my fifth monitor, my sixth monitor. I've got sports. And women, I mean, you know, women's football being great just opens up the avenue for that. So I'm just really happy as somebody in my position, right, to just be making a video about some random drama that happened in women's football that doesn't actually have to do at all with women's football. And the next time I do that, I won't even have to include this part because it'll be even more normalized for me that that's what's happening. Even recording this video, I had to kind of remind myself, yeah, this is a women's football tournament. Oh, that's sick. Yeah, Nepal was getting screwed, though. The good news for Nepal and Mount Everest and all the other mountains that are official citizens of Nepal is that they did manage to score 4 minutes later, which is incredible resilience from this team. They managed to score a goal 4 minutes after this giant disallowed controversy. Now, when I say 4 minutes, what I mean is an hour, basically, because even though when you look at the official match report, which I have, right? I'm not somebody that goes into giant in-depth all of the time on videos, but I am giant in-depth on this video. The match report says that they scored in the 66th minute, but in real time, this was like more than an hour after India's goal, which was only technically 4 minutes earlier. After the goal, the match goes through another hour of just absolute nonsense, allowing us to finally get to a point where we get this picture that we started this video with, which is 172 minutes and 22 seconds of match time played in front of a packed house in Nepal in what is a 1-1 match. This brings us to a penalty shootout, which Nepal would actually end up winning, going to its second consecutive SAFF Women's Championship final. And I'm just going to let you experience the ambiance here, because part of this channel is just me talking about cool stuff I found around the world and wanting to share it with you. And I just want to share this with you. So hopefully it doesn't get DMCA'd, because the call to this is absolutely electric. The final penalty for Nepal, a woman down to come out and win this match after getting what they perceived to be mega screwed.
Amisha! Well, if the football gods have written the script, this is the best one I've ever witnessed and seen and heard. Nepal winning this one with a grace. Tears of joy and tears of happiness here. You can just hear it. You can just feel it in the grounds. It's there to be taken for the Nepalese players.
Just absolutely electric scenes. If the football gods, look, anytime the announcer references the football gods, I'm so into it. The fans all celebrating, having a great time. Nepalese pride, tears from the Nepalese goalkeeper. That always is something that gets the people going when it comes to the drama of a particular football match. But yeah, Nepal against Bangladesh for the second consecutive time in the SAFF final. Who freaking knew? But definitely one of the wildest matches that's been played in a long time. Somebody figure out how to make the clock show what's happening.